are live. Welcome back, guys, to the ARTFUL Podcast. My name is Matteo. And how was your week? I start painting again. I start doing this painting that is for a competition. So I'm gonna apply for this competition on which is in London. And the competition is for the Royal Institute of Oil Painters, and is basically it's an oil paint competition. So everyone that want to submit a painting that they can do, and it's on Royal Institute for Painters. It's through the Mall Galleries in London. It's quite big, and it's in Santa. It's literally nearby the. It's nearby the Buckingham Palace. And the Royal Institute of Oil Painters was founded in 1882. And it was a British art society that promote and exhibit work and higher standards exclusively in oils. So it's really hard to get in. I try to get in in some of this competition. I got quite close to the actual selection of artists for the exhibition, but I never made it through completely to get an actual exhibition, which would be quite good as exposure for your art. It's so it's quite art, but that's what I've been doing. I'm doing a portrait on of an old man. So it's it's a 3/4 portrait of this old man, and it's I've been working for like it's 4 weeks, 4 weeks, like 7 days, and it's been exciting coming back on painting and for something. Like I have a goal. That painting is for that exhibition. I'm gonna try to submit more than one painting. Some of those that I have already. I think I don't know. I'm gonna try. So hopefully. And for my friends and all the people they know me well, it's no surprise, but I'm a big fan of comedy. So big fan of comedy, especially American based artist comedians. So I follow closely a few podcasts every week. I listen to those people. Which one of those? It's chrisd'elia, and I think it's one of the best at the moment. It's so funny, and yesterday was a sad day. It was a sad day. He got accused of sexual misconduct with some underage girls a few years ago. He tried to meet with those young girls, and there are no proof, like 100% proof at the moment, so it's all like hopefully he didn't do it. But I was quite down yesterday because of that. I don't know, it's just because it's weird for me, because obviously like I don't know them, and it's been, but the fact, not even through social media, because I don't use social media that much. I use social media I have just Instagram and Facebook, and I use them for promote my art and my exhibition and stuff like that. So nothing really. I don't really use social media that crazy, but because I listen to a lot of podcasts, and those most of the podcasts are for are made by comedians. I listen to them every week, and because most of those comedians are the same circle, so they know each other. They are actually super friends. So they talk to each other, and they talk at each other quite a lot. So you listen to those people every week, and you kind of create this connection for like that. You listen for them for like an hour, 2, 3 hours sometimes, and you create kind of like a little connection. And obviously, if you heard that one of those people that you listen every week for hours does something like that, it's a bit sad. Hopefully it didn't do it. Anyway, so today episode we're gonna freeball, to be honest, a little bit, because I didn't really prepare anything concrete, but have a little idea anyway of what is it. So the question today is the big question that is been going on since human start to pick stuff up. The $1 million question is, what is art? What is art? And it's such a complicated question. I don't think we're gonna find an answer today, but we're gonna talk about. And so, because it's such a big argument, we need to find a way to start. Okay, so, and I think as a fair point to start is, if you wanna, so what is art? So if you actually ask what is art, so the description of the word, of the meaning of the word is the expression of application of human creative skills and imagination. Okay, so typically is in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing work to the appreciate primarily for their beauty and emotional power. So it's an expression of application of human creative skills and imagination. I wouldn't say and imagination. I would say or imagination. So it's an application of human creative skills or imagination. So it's an application of the imagination, so of what you imagine, and you express it on whatever paper, canvas, or sculpture, or whatever. So obviously, like it's not a narrow explanation of what is art, and I think because you can't really define what is art, because it's such a subject thing for people. It's not how well is made, which could be a way to value what is better than something else, but at the same time it's such an objective way, such an objective thing, that you can't really define what good art is and what art is really, because it's something that objective that you need to think. I think it's really important it's valuable if you ask yourself why for somebody else a painting or a sculpture or an artwork basically is good, and even if you don't like it. So it's really good for you to have an open mind on what you see, and try to understand why other people think that artwork is a good artwork, and why that artwork is art himself. So it's something really good to have. I think we established this at the beginning of this conversation. We try to understand. We need to have an open mind on what good or what art is. So when you go to an exhibition, for example, or a museum, more likely, you will find different, like really different pieces. So in one room you will find a Monet, for example, or in another room you will find a Guernica, a Picasso, and another room you will find an installation. And there are such difference between those artworks that you're like, you cannot, you will continually ask yourself, is this art, like, it's the same, is it good if we call it art just because it's in a museum? And I think that's one of the biggest aspects, that if you put something made by an artist in an exhibition in a museum, that instantly becomes art. And we can discuss about that, but obviously it just becomes art because that space is for art. So becomes art because of that. It's not only because it's made by an artist, which you can agree or not if it's good or if you like it or if it's art himself, but when that artwork is being put in a gallery, it's a specific place where artworks are. So you need to come to the conclusion that is art. Doesn't mean like you need to like it or not, but yeah, that will be art. And art is such a powerful thing, that art gives us hope and reminds us of like feeling. It's something that we need to remember when we watch some, like when we are looking at an artwork, that it's really important that this artwork gives us feelings, and any feelings they give us, if you hate it or if you like it, doesn't matter. That was the purpose of the artwork. It did give you some feelings. So feelings are a big part of what art is, and what makes an artwork's art. So yeah, I think that's a really important point of what is art. But to have an even better description of what art is, I think one of the main point to look when you look at an artwork is the purpose. So the art should be art is the purpose of the expression of human skills or imagination that makes feel something to the audience. And I think purpose it's a big aspect of art, because for example, if I'm carrying a bucket of paint and I drop it and all the drops goes all and it splashes on the floor, that can be art, even if it's made by all those materials that usually art is made, because it wasn't something that I did on purpose. But if I take like Jackson Pollock, if I take a brush or a bucket of paint and I start dripping the paint with a purpose, even if you think it's not skilled as a Modigliani, as a Caravaggio, as a Michelangelo, even if you don't see those, even if you don't actually see those skills demonstrate in the artwork, there is a purpose. So if Jackson Pollock wanted to drop this paint on the canvas on purpose, that made the artwork worth it, because there is a purposeful expression of the human creative skills or imagination. But I think if you just examine it, if you just take in consideration that the artist did that on purpose, doesn't mean like anyone can be an artist. So I think there are usually in the artwork, there are usually these three important questions that they really take the artwork individually, and you can understand what art is better if you ask those questions relate to the artworks. So those questions are, when you're looking at a painting as like an artworks, you ask yourself, what was the goal of the artwork? Did they achieve their goal? And was it worth it doing it? So if you take the Jackson Pollock for example, doesn't matter if you don't think it takes the creative skills and skills himself to create that painting, as a Botticelli, as a Van Gogh, as a Monet. It doesn't matter, because so if you ask yourself the three questions, what was the goal? The goal of the painting of Jackson Pollock was to represent, one of the many meaning was to represent the world around him without a physical form. So he achieved that goal. So he managed to do it. And the second question, did he achieve the goal? Yes, he achieved the goal. And the third question, it was worth it. It was worth it, yes, because it created a new way of representing the world around you without physical form. So yeah, it was worth it. So if you take these three questions and you ask yourself every time you're looking at something, and it's obviously generical way, because in the end everything's subjective. So if you take those questions and you ask yourself every time you see an artwork, that should give you a generic explanation of what art is and what is the meaning of the artwork. And I think, and there are so many examples you can think of, so many movies, for example, that create a new way, a new format of how to make movies, and they change it completely, the way of shooting a movie. And it was worth a yes, because it creates a diverse way of shooting a movie. And so there are so many examples that you can take, easy to understand what I'm trying to say. So it's quite confusing. It's quite hard to put art in a box and try to understand what art is. And I think it's really such a personal way, such a personal thing, that it's quite impossible to define what art is, even if you do not agree with most of the critics and most of the artworks that apparently change the way of doing something. But yeah, as I said that before, you need to have an open mind when you go to a museum, when you watching some, even when you watch a movie, when you go see a musical or something. You need to have an open mind and try to understand why other people likes it, and it's worth it, consider that as a art. And I think something's really important about art, that usually it balances, because it compensates a part of us that we are afraid to express. And because, for example, lots of people, they are not brave enough to just go crazy on a canvas, and it's really important for them to have something like that to look up when they go to an exhibition, because it compensates a part of them that they know they can do it. So I think that's why sometimes, most of the time, people are attracted to an art form that is completely different from themselves, because it's a part of themselves that they cannot explore, I think that's why art it's something that's so important for people, and mentally it's really helpful. And that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and share it with everyone you know. And I will see you next time from the Artful Podcast. I'm out.